So a lot of people ask us the question, how did the Playhouse start? And in reality, it started when we were all just sitting around as a family having a discussion about how Brian's parents, father in particular, grew up.
And their family had run a summer camp, a sleepaway camp in the Catskills, and all the cousins worked together, all the aunts and uncles every summer went off to work at the camp together. And you know, we were always sort of regretted that their family hadn't kept it. They had sold it in the 60s. But my father grew up with all his cousins and aunts and uncles every summer going to this camp, and until he was a teenager, and that's when they had sold it. And so it just sort of got us thinking about what things we had in common that we might like to get involved with as a family.
And everyone's passion in the family was theater.
Leslie and I came over one autumn, I think it was autumn 2002, and we based ourselves in Massachusetts, in the Berkshires, and we looked at a whole variety of locations from Rhode Island and Connecticut up to Maine, and Massachusetts and New Hampshire, even New York State. And it just was, Brian once said that somebody's going to say to us, we really want you here. And we came to Laconia and we spoke with the city manager, and that's exactly what she said.
I think we definitely came into this with rose-colored glasses on, thinking, you know, if you build it, they will come.
And that first summer, we spent a lot of time trying to get people to come. We did things like dress up in animal costumes and walk with balloons down the boardwalk, hanging out tickets. We
were that desperate.
We went to area restaurants and we would just go up to someone at a table and say, what are you doing tonight? Here's a few tickets for this evening's performance. The good thing about the first year was that we met people that shared our vision and could see what the Playhouse could become. And we had some very loyal followers, some of which came, we estimate 27 times that first summer, and supported us, and that helped us find a base and a grounding in the community and helped give us the energy to get over that hump that we were facing in the first summer. We also had 2 infants with us and a young daughter, so that was a challenge too. We used to have them in a little baby Bjorn when we were in the box office. When we were backstage, they were in a playpen. Sometimes they scooted out the door during a performance where we were taking part and we had to run after them, so that was very challenging too.
But that was one of the reasons we got into this, was, at least for Johanna and I, we wanted to do something, one, that we could work together and share our creative talents and interests, but also something that we could build that our kids could be involved in as they got older. So, you know, the children have been a part of the Playhouse, you know, from day one. And
we have developed instant friends that came to our very first open house in the Weirs and have been with us ever since. And so there are people like Steve Richmond, who was our very first member, who is now the voice of the Playhouse and has appeared on stage. There are board members that have devoted enormous amounts of time to making this successful for us. People that don't have a family connection, didn't necessarily share our vision from the beginning, but saw what we could bring to the community, and we could not have done it without them.
I think this is closer to the initial vision. Yeah. I think we looked at all sorts of places before we settled on the venue in the Weirs, and why we chose that was because it was manageable, you know, at the time, having never done this before. But I think it was always the plan to hopefully be able to grow and be able to do something on a bigger scale than that.
You know, it started with 4 people who were able to, luckily, because we had never produced a show together, you know, before we started this, but who happened to be good at producing good theater together. And capitalizing on the success of our programming, we were able to make friends who have helped us get where we are today.